What's up, residents? Hope you've been enjoying this massive, Godzilla-sized dump of news and information that we've been getting on King of the Monsters. Today, we are going to look over all the changes in Godzilla's design, both big and small, since his debut in Godzilla 2014. I'll tell you right now, the years have treated Godzilla well. Let's talk about the most controversial aspects of Godzilla's design from the first movie: his thick legs and feet. If you don't remember, Godzilla 2014's legs practically look like gigantic tree trunks. It made some sense. A creature that large would need some impressively thick legs. But with a fantasy character like the G-Man, I personally think it's just better to make the legs look awesome more than realistic. And King of the Monsters is doing just that. His thighs are now clearly showing muscle definition and have trimmed up a good bit. When I look at Godzilla's new legs, I think of powerlifters and competitive strongmen. Their thighs are massive, but you can still see the separate muscles moving and bulging as they compete in all these competitions. Powerlifters in general are a great comparison to the new look of Godzilla. He still has a clear level of fat and overall mass with his body, just like Eddie Hall or the Mountain from Game of Thrones. But underneath that thick layer of fat are muscles way larger than your typical human, or in Godzilla's case, monster. And we will discuss the beefed up look of Godzilla throughout this video, but let's get back to his feet. Gone are those goofy looking elephant feet, as the G-Man's toes have elongated and now reach out more like the classic look from the Toho movies, even sporting much more deadly looking claws than before. Godzilla's tail has also had a few slight changes. 2014's was more like a dinosaur or crocodilian's tail. The new tail, however, seems to have a much more blunt look to it. The tip is clearly resembling Toho's more rounded look. What do you think about his tail now? You will see that Godzilla and all the monsters have a ton of callbacks to the Toho designs over the decades. Godzilla 2014 had an upper body that looked like a barrel more than a powerful godlike being. Hardly any muscles were showing, and he just looked like he had the dad bod of monsters. Don't get me wrong, he is still very wide and thick in his midsection. But now it is more defined, and he has cut up a little. He appears to have a much larger and pronounced chest, once again just like the strongest men in the world. His arms also seem to be much more capable of combat, especially when you look at those shoulders. Ya making me moist, Godzilla. In all seriousness though, his arms are heavily built. But what makes them even more special now is that his hands are much more prominent and developed. 2014's Godzilla had much more normal animal-like hands and arms, looking like something you would see in a Jurassic Park film. But now it appears they have added more human qualities. His thumbs are much more visible, and his fingers now have claws that look like they could do some major damage. Altogether, his forelimbs just look way more useful than they did in 2014. Now, not much has changed with Godzilla's head and face since 2014, but there are a few changes worth noting. His overall head appears to be smaller than before, but it could be due to his overall body being much more built. Your muscles can grow, but your skull can't. So that may be a factor in all this. It also looks like he has an overbite of sorts, but that could just be due to the angles that we've seen so far. We aren't really sure. Now, Godzilla's spines may just be the most significant and clear change. The film's director, Michael Daughtry, went out and said that the G-Man's spines are like his crown. They have to be special and embody the spirit of the monster himself, and I agree with this logic. 2014's back plates were jagged and looked like pointy, sharp rocks sticking out from Godzilla's back. King of the Monsters completely changed this. The spines on the G-Man in the upcoming movie are the exact same as the ones seen on the very first Godzilla, way back in 1954. This was put in place as an homage to the original Godzilla, and out of respect for everything Toho has done for the industry. I will say that seeing the classic style spines on MonsterVerse Godzilla is a very nice addition. It fits perfectly with all the other classic monsters that we're going to see in this big, massive fight. Overall, Godzilla's entire body has gone through some big changes, but at the same time, his design is still in place with the one from 2014. He just looks more sharp, more armored, more beefed up, and altogether just more badass looking. I compare this to how Batman's armor in the Dark Knight trilogy changed from Batman Begins to the rest of the series. The second trailer for Godzilla King of the Monsters just came out, and we are preparing to go all out for you guys on the new footage and information. So make sure to click the notification bell so you know when we publish. On that note, this has been Jacob Residence, and peace out.